Agriculture management of cattle. Management of cattle. This is the care given to cattle to improve and maintain a high production. A stockman is the person entrusted with the work of caring for livestock on a farm. Qualities of a good stockman. I should be kind to the animals by avoiding rough treatment that can cause injury and death to animals. B should know well the monthly or routine operations on the farm like drenching, vaccination to reduce risks of disease and death of animals. C should have a high ability of identifying sick animals and those on heat for prompt action. D should be able to identify and remove dangerous objects from the farm to reduce injury to livestock. E must be able to keep good up-to-date records for reference purposes. 6. F should be able to take correct decisions as and when required to reduce losses on the farm. She should be honest to reduce losses to the farm. H should be healthy and energetic so as to carry out work as and when required. I should be highly knowledgeable in livestock management to ensure high animal production. J should be able to do work on the farm under minimum supervision from the high officers. Management practices in cattle. These are operations done on cattle to ensure high production. They include the following: feeding, branding, identification, housing, castration dehorning, grooming, casting/putting animals down, vaccination, hoof trimming, drenching/dehorning, restraining. 1. Dehorning. This is the removal or suppression of horns on animals. Suppressing horn. Agriculture management of cattle. To make the handling of the animal move easy, especially during drenching. Castrating, plowing, etc. To allow more animals to fit in space during transportation of the animals, and even in crawls. To reduce injury which may be caused by horned cattle to others. To prevent the destruction of farm structure like fences by animals that are horned. To beautify animals, hence making them more appealing. It introduces uniformity in a herd, makes animals to grow faster as nutrients meant for horn development are used in growth. Methods of dehorning. The method used will depend on the age of the animal, farmers' skill and to some extent capital. Methods used in dehorning are use of caustic pencils or chemical dehorning, use of hot iron, use of dehorning saw, use of a rubber ring, use of dehorning wire, use of dehorning clippers, chemical. Method. This is where caustic pencils or sticks are used in suppressing horns by rubbing it against the horn buds. It's done to young animals between 3 minutes 14 days of age. Procedure. 7. Restrain the calf using ropes and cast it. Done Roman 2. Put the hair around the horn bud to expose it. Roman 3. Rub the caustic sticks or pencils are against the horn bud until bleeding occurs. Roman 4. Apply fly repellents and antibiotics on the wound created. V. Release the calf after the operation. Roman 6. Do not allow the calf into rain for a few days for faster healing of the wounds. Roman 2. Hot iron method. This is where a hot iron is applied on the horn bud to burn and kill the growing cells. Procedure. Agriculture management of cattle. Roman 3. Apply the hot iron around the horn bud for about 10 seconds to burn the growing cells. Roman 4. Care should be taken not to go deep as it can damage the brain. V. Apply fly repellents on the wound created to keep away flies and stop that wound from becoming septic respectively. Roman 6. The animal should be released after the operation. Roman 7. Monitor the animal to ensure that it does not go under rain. Roman 3. Use of a rubber ring. A rubber ring is placed at the bottom of the horn bud which will stop blood supply to the horn and cut it off within 3 to 6 weeks, depending on the size of the horn. It is done on small horns at early age. Procedure. Restrain the animal in a crusher or using ropes. Use an elastrator to stretch out the rubber ring. Place the rubber ring at the base of the horn and remove the elastrator to release the rubber ring. Release the animal after the operation. Roman 4. Use of dehorning saws. This is used where the horns have grown up and is long enough. The horns are cut off near the base after restraining the animal. Procedure. Restrain the animal using ropes and cast a dem. Roman 2. Administer a localized painkiller in the skin surrounding the horn. Roman 3. Tie a piece of thin rope around the base of the 2 horns to control bleeding. Roman 4. Cut off the horn at the base using a dehorning saw. V. Repeat the same procedure to remove the second horn. Roman 6. Use a hot iron to seal the wound to stop bleeding. Roman 7. Apply insect repellents and antibiotics on the wound. Roman 8. Release the animal after the operation and closely monitor to assess the healing process. Woman 9. Remove the ropes around the base after 2 days. The use of dehorning wire. This rare brittle wire is stretched and rubbed against a horn until it is cut off. The animal is restrained and the operation carried out. Woman 6. Use of dehorning clippers. Dehorning clippers are tools with open blades that remove horns by cutting. Agriculture management of cattle. It's the practice of rendering male animals sexually unfunctional. In female animals, the practice is referred to as spaying. Reasons for castration: to prevent the bad smell, especially in the billy goats, to prevent undesirable males from breeding, to make the animal docile and easy to work. Castrated animals grow faster and produce quality meat. Castration increases the quality of wool in sheep as more nutrients are channeled to the development of the wool. It helps in the control of venereal diseases like contagious abortion. It controls inbreeding on the farm when males born on the farm are castrated. Methods of castration. There are 2 main methods of castration, namely open operation/castration, closed castration. 1. Open castration. This is where the scrotum is opened to remove the testicles. It can also be referred to as surgical operation. This requires a sharp knife or blade to split the scrotum vertically up to the bottom for better bleeding. 9. 10. Advantages of open castration. 1. Ensures complete castration of the animal. 2. It's a cheaper method of castration since it can be done using local implements like the knife. Disadvantages. 1. It requires a lot of skill to be carried out. 2. There is a high risk of infection due to the wound created. 3. It is slow to be carried out. 4. There is risk of overbleeding, more especially in mature bulls. Procedure of carrying out open castration. 1. The animal should be restrained first using ropes. 2. Wash your hands using clean water and soap or wear clean gloves. 3. The scrotum of the animal should be washed and disinfected using clean, warm water and soap. 4. Dry the scrotum using a clean hand towel. 5. Apply a localized anesthesia around the scrotum to reduce pain. 6. Pull and squeeze the scrotum to locate the testes. 7. Use a clean blade or knife to cut the scrotum vertically in order to remove. Agriculture management of cattle. 9. Cut the spermatic cord just below the knot to release the testes. 10. Repeat the same procedure to remove the second testes. 11. Seal the wound to stop bleeding by using a hot iron. 12. Apply fly repellent on the wound to keep away flies. 13. Apply antibiotic cream to stop the wound from becoming septic. 14. Release the animal and keep it in reach for easy supervision. 2. Closed castration. This is a type of castration which is done without opening the scrotum. It can be done using the Burdizzo/Burdizzo method or using a rubber ring/rubber ring method. The Burdizzo is an instrument with handles which exerts pressure on closing its jaws, while a rubber ring is a thick round rubber which is stretched using an lacerator before being placed on the neck of the scrotum. Advantages of closed castration. 1. It's a fast method of castration. 2. Does not require a lot of skill. 3. No bleeding experienced. 4. Less risk of infection since no open wound is created. Disadvantages. 1. Chances of a failed castration are common. 2. It is expensive to buy a Burdizzo. 11. 3. Castration using a rubber ring is very painful. Castration using a Burdizzo. 1. Restrain the animal using ropes and cast it down. 2. Pull the scrotum downwards to locate the spermatic cords, ducts and nerves. 3. Open the jaws of the Burdizzo by pressing the handles outwards. 4. Place the Burdizzo at the neck of the scrotum. 5. Press the handles of the Burdizzo inwards to lock the jaws and crush the spermatic cords, ducts and nerves. 6. Open the jaws of the Burdizzo and remove it from the crushed area. 7. Release the animal after the operation. 8. Keep the animal within reach for easy supervision. Castration using a rubber ring. Here a strong rubber band is straightened using an elastorator and fixed around the neck of the scrotum. This cuts off blood supply to the scrotum and the testes, which eventually degenerate and fall off after some time. It's the most painful method of castration, though very effective. The farmer doesn't expect any development of the scrotum for a lifetime. 3. Identification. Agriculture management of cattle. To facilitate record keeping. Methods of identification. The main methods of identification are branding, ear tying, tattooing, ear notching, naming, branding. This involves sealing numbers, letters, designs, or a combination of this on the skin of the animal. Methods of branding. These include hot iron branding, chemical branding, freeze branding, 1. Hot iron branding. 12. This is done using a branding iron which is heated and stamped on the animal skin to leave marks for identification. Branding is done on the less valuable part of a hide like lower part of the thigh, jaw and hump. Procedure of hot iron branding. Restrain the animal in a crush. Heat the branding iron in fire or gas until red hot. Stamp the hot iron on a less valuable part of the animal to burn the skin and leave marks. Remove the iron from the skin after a few seconds. Release the animal from the crush. 2. Chemical branding. In this method, corrosive chemicals are applied on the skin, causing leaving marks on the skin. Restrain the animal in a crush. Clean the area to be banded. Dip the branding equipment in a branding chemical. Apply the chemical to the less valuable parts of the hide. Release the animal for the crush. 3. Freeze branding. This involves applying liquid nitrogen to the skin, which freezes the hair follicles so that they die and stop hair growth in that area. A branding iron can be dipped in liquid nitrogen and then applied on the stain. The method is good since the skin/hide is not damaged and hence can be applied to any part of the animal. B. Ear tags. Agriculture management of cattle. The ear tags are of two types: piercing, self-piercing tags. Non-piercing. The self-fixing tags will be fixed onto the ear with force, while a non-piercing ear tag, a hole must be made where it is fixed. An ear tag applicator can be used in stapling piercing ear tags on the ear. C. Ear notching. This involves cutting V-shaped notches on the edge of the ear using sharp scissors or pincers. This method is popular in pigs because of their soft skin. The number and location of notches on the ear can be used for identification. D. Tattooing. A special ink is used to inflict marks on the skin of the animal more, especially inside the ear. The hair must be removed from that place before tattooing. 13. E. Naming. Animals are given specific names for identification depending on a number of things like origin, coat color, etc. 4. Restraining. This is the hindering of movements of animals by physical force. It's done so as to perform operations on animals like dehorning, castration, deworming, identification, vaccination, and drenching with minimum disturbance. The amount of force applied during restraining depends on the temper, size, and type of the animals. Cattle are not restrained in the same way as goats. 5. Casting. This is a practice of putting animals down, and it's done when animals are to be controlled for a long time during operations like castration, dehorning, and identification. 6. Grooming. This involves brushing off loose hair, dung, dirt, and lice from the skin of an animal. Reasons for grooming: to stimulate blood and lymph circulation in the body of the animal, to remove loose hair, lice, and other external parasites, to facilitate mating in animals, for cleanliness and good appearance for the animals, for production of clean milk in lactating animals. 7. Foot trimming. This involves removing overgrown parts of the foot which impairs movement of the animal. It controls lameness in animals. Agriculture management of cattle. This involves removing unproductive and sick animals from the herd for slaughtering/selling. It controls disease spread and wastage of feeds on the farm. 9. Vaccination. This is done in order to control highly infectious diseases in livestock, e.g. swine, fever, foot and mouth disease, Newcastle, rabies, etc. 10. Drenching. This involves administering oral treatment as opposed to animals. It's done using a drenching gun/bottle to control internal parasites like liver flukes, roundworms, tapeworms, hookworms. 11. Rounding up. This is done in beef animals, and it involves bringing all animals on ranch in the center of the kraal for the following reasons: castrate and vaccinate animals. Physical assessment of the animals. To separate animals according to age, sex, type, etc. To cull and market unproductive animals. To wean calves at the right age. 14. To carry out pregnancy diagnosis. 12. Housing. The main reasons why animals are housed are to protect animals from bad weather condition, mostly young ones, to provide animals with a good opportunity of being fed well, to provide an area for special handling of the animals, e.g. crushes, dips, spray, etc., to provide a conducive environment for production and temporary storage for milk quality milk, to provide conducive working conditions for the farmer. Qualities of a good animal house: 1. Provide an adequate floor space to avoid overcrowding. 2. Should be waterproof to avoid damp conditions that breed pathogens. 3. Should have a concrete floor which is easy to clean. 4. Should provide adequate light since it affects the productivity and behavior of animals. 5. Should have adequate ventilation to control respiratory infections. 6. The floor surface should have a gentle slope to allow urine to drain off easily. 7. Should be built in such a way that animals can easily see each other. 15. Livestock breeding. This is the mating of selected animals in a planned manner. Agriculture management of cattle. 1. To maintain desirable qualities in animals like increased number of eggs. Produce in chicken, high number of offsprings born per animal. 2. Produce animals with high mothering ability, i.e. low temperament and high milk production. 3. Produce highly fertile animals. 4. Produce animals with a high growth rate. 5. Produce animals that can give a lot of products like milk and eggs. 6. To come up with breeds that produce high quality meat, milk and egg. 7. To produce breeds of animals that are resistant to parasites and diseases. 8. Elimination of undesirable qualities in livestock. 9. To produce animals with a high resistance to harsh environmental conditions. 10. To produce animals that can provide products for a long period of time. Terms used in animal breeding. Allele, these are different forms of a gene at a particular locus, e.g. TT. The backcross, this is a cross between an animal offspring and one of the parents. See a breed, this is a large group of animals developed by the efforts of men having a common ancestry and possessing similar morphological, physiological, and economic characteristics. Debreeding, this is a technique involved in mating selected animals because of their desirable characteristics. Chiasma, this is a place of connection between two chromosomes, seen during prophase of meiosis. Aphyclone, this is the population of organisms reproduced by asexual reproduction from a one individual. G-crossing over, this is the process of exchange of genetic information between two homologous chromosomes during meiosis. H-diploid is an individual cell having two complete sets of chromosomes. Hypostases, this is where a gene masks the effect of another. The gene which masks is called a hypostatic gene. The NUS gene is called a hypostatic gene. J-dominant gene, it's one which can express itself phenotypically in both homozygous and heterozygous states, e.g. a gene for tallness TT in a garden P. K inheritance, it's a mechanism by which characteristics are passed on from parents to offsprings. If a character is 20% heritable, it means that the 20% is determined by the genes, while the 80% depends on the environment. Allohybrid, these are the offsprings resulting from a cross between two. Agriculture management of cattle. M-hybrid vigor, heterosis, this is unusual growth and healthiness, better performance of organisms resulting from the cross between two different parents or better performance of a hybrid beyond that of parents. N-inbreeding, this is the mating of closely related animals. O-locus, this is the physical position of the gene on a chromosome. P-linkage, this is the tendency of genes located on the same chromosome to be inherited together in a successive generation. Q-outbreeding, this is the mating of unrelated animals and is sometimes called crossing. R-pedigree is a chart showing the ancestry history of an individual. S-progeny, these are offsprings resulting from a mating. T-recessive gene, a gene whose expression is only seen when in a homozygous state only. U-heterozygous is a situation where an organism has two different alleles, e.g. TT. D-homozygous is a situation where an organism has two like alleles, e.g. TT. W-sex chromosomes, these are chromosomes that determine the sex of organisms, e.g. X and Y chromosomes in animals. Selection. This is a practice of allowing some animals to be parents of future generations, while depriving others of that privilege. Types of selection. There are mainly two types of selections, i.e. natural selection and artificial selection. Natural selection. This is one which always takes place through random mating, and it's influenced by natural forces, e.g. the ability of one individual to survive and reproduce in a certain environment. In such a selection, only the fittest animals are able to survive, hence survival of the fittest in the struggle for existence. Artificial selection. This is the type of selection controlled by man and doesn't allow random mating, but mating is based on desired characteristics. Methods used in artificial selection. Individual/mass selection. Pedigree selection. Collateral relatives selection. Progeny tests. Tandem selection. Independent culling. Agriculture management of cattle. 17. This is done basing on the information about the animal's performances, well as the performance of its progeny. It measures the likelihood of a trait being passed on to the next generation. A comparison of animals based on their own individual performances, called the performance test. It's used for traits of high heritability such as growth rate, fertility, mothering ability, and feed conversion efficiency. Pedigree selection. Here animals are selected based on the performance of their ancestors. This method is used for traits that can't be measured in life, e.g. quality of beef. This method is not highly recommended because it can be easily manipulated by leaders and farm managers. Collateral relative selection. This is selection done based on performance records of close relatives like brothers, sisters, half-brothers, etc. The transmission of traits characteristics with known importance between relatives can be measured using subtests. The accuracy of subtesting depends on family size, heritability of a character, i.e., the ability of a trait to be transmitted from one generation to another, intrafamily genetic relationships, progeny tests. This is where selection is made based on the performance of an animal's offspring progeny. It determines the value of an animal breed and performance reflected in the following: milk and butter fat production in case of dairy animals, carcass quality in beef animals, belly length in pigs. Advantages. Weakly inherited traits are easily noted and decisions made. It's easy to know practically the productive qualities for both the bull and the cow. It's more suitable for traits which are exposed after slaughter, such as the carcass quality. Disadvantages. It's a very expensive method of selection because it involves a lot of consideration before reaching the final judgment. It needs a lot of time, hence is time wasting. Tandem selection. This where a desired trait is selected among many and improved before going. Agriculture management of cattle. The breeder lays down a minimum standard for several traits, and any animal that does not measure up to standard is called selection index. Here, numerical values are given to potential parents basing on the characters, and one with the highest value is selected. Factors considered in selecting animals for breeding. 1. Adaptability of the animal to environmental conditions. 2. Availability of the breed within the environment. 3. Availability of market for animal products for the animal being bred. 4. Animal temperament should be low for easy handling. 5. Animal resistance to pests and diseases should be high. 6. Animal body conformity should confirm the breed and type. 7. History of success of the breed in the environment. 8. Feed conversion ratio of the breed, i.e. should have a high ability of converting feed into products like milk, meat, and eggs. 9. Growth rate of the breed. 10. Availability of quality feeds for the animals. 11. Fertility of the animal being considered. 12. Productivity of the animal in terms of milk, meat, and eggs. Breeding methods. This refers to those methods which deal with how the breeds that have been selected as parents for the next generation are mated. Breeding methods are classified into two broad groups, namely close breeding, outbreeding/crossbreeding. Close breeding. This is the mating of related animals, e.g., a daughter and a father, a son and a mother, brother and a sister, grandparents and grand offspring. Post-breeding involves inbreeding and line breeding. Inbreeding. This is that mating of closely related animals like brother and sister, son and mother, etc. Advantages of inbreeding. It helps to maintain a high relationship with the desirable ancestor. It increases the degree of uniformity in the herd. The less desirable recessive genes are easily brought to light and therefore culled. The good qualities of a particular breed can be easily maintained. Disadvantages. It requires a lot of skill in making planned mating and rigid selection. Agriculture management of cattle leads to a reduction in the fertility of animals. The offspring's got are usually of poor size. Line breeding. This can be defined as the mating of animals of the same breed or distant relatives, e.g. cousin, grandson, and grandmother. It's actually practiced in order to conserve the good traits of a certain outstanding sire or dam. Outbreeding/outcrossing. This is the mating of unrelated animals. Sometimes such animals can be of the same breed but show no close relationship in the first 4 generations. Outbreeding results in the production of offsprings that are of better performance than the parents, i.e. hybrid vigor. Crossing can be done between breeds, species, and lines. Examples of crosses between species are male lion and female tiger results in a liger. Male donkey and female zebra results in an Asprata. Male horse and female zebra results in a Zebroid. Male horse and female donkey results in a mule. Bull and female buffalo results in a beefalo. Breeding up. This is a system whereby pure exotic sires are made with the local animals. To improve the characteristics of local animals, e.g. local female X 100% pure sire/male. Phone 50% pure female X 100% pure sire/male. F4 75% pure female X 100% pure sire/male. F3 87% pure female X 100% pure sire/male. F1 93.7% pure female x 100% pure male. Breeding efficiency. This is the ability with which the herd is able to reproduce and multiply. Int. Covers the entire period of breeding, i.e. mating, conception, gestation, and calving. It measures the following. 1. Calving interval. This is the period between calving. Normally it is about 12 minus 13 months. In order to get a good calving interval, a rest period of 60 days should be given for the animal. 2. Age of heifer at first calving, which should be 24 months. A higher age indicates a low breeding efficiency. 3. Agriculture management of cattle. 4. Percentage of cows that calve within a year. A high percentage indicates a high breeding efficiency. 5. Number of days a cow is pregnant in a year. The more the days, the higher the breeding efficiency. 6. Percentage of non-returns. Non-returns arise when the services done in pregnancy does not occur. A low percentage of non indicates a high breeding efficiency and vice versa. Maintaining a high breeding efficiency. 1. Good feeding. Breeding animals should be fed well but excessive fattening should be avoided as it may reduce the fertility. 2. Observing the rest period. Animals should be given a rest period of about 60 days to allow the uterus to return to normal. 3. Insemination at the right time in case of the cow should be inseminated towards the middle and late part of heat period as ovulation occurs 14 hours after the beginning of estrus. 4. Observation of animals on heat. This should be done as early as possible, more especially where AI is being used to avoid the animal missing service. 5. Veterinary attention. Animals that fail to conceive should be identified and examined to find out the causes and treated if possible. 6. Pregnancy diagnosis. Animals should be diagnosed to find out whether they have conceived or not so that appropriate measures can be taken in time. 7. Keep accurate breeding records for the herd to be used as reference where necessary. 8. Use teaser bulls for early detection of heat in farm animals for early service. 9. Maintain a good ratio of bulls to females to avoid overworking the bulls, which lowers fertility. 10. Use correct techniques of artificial insemination to ensure successful fertilization, hence high breeding efficiency. 11. Females with abnormal discharges should examined and treated early enough. 12. Know a complete breeding history of the animals before buying it into the farm. Mating animals. Animals can be mated using two main methods, i.e. natural service and artificial. Agriculture management of cattle. 1. Less costly since collection and processing of semen is not involved. 2. Best methods serving animals with silent heat. 21. 3. Conception rate is higher than artificial insemination. 4. It's a quick method of service. 5. Does not require special skills and training. Disadvantages. 1. Reproductive diseases can be easily spread. 2. It's difficult to practice controlled breeding under this method. 3. Heavy bulls can easily injure weak females. 4. Waste semen on one female that would otherwise serve 100 female. 5. Breeding records are difficult to keep. Artificial insemination. It's a method of breeding in which semen is obtained from the male and introduced into the female reproductive tract by means of an instrument, without direct contact between the males. Advantages. It's easier and cheaper to transport semen from distant places than transporting a bull. Semen from good males may be stored for use in future years even after the death of such animals. This enables controlled seasonal and planned breeding on farms. It's easy to keep accurate breeding records since the time of services always known. It's easy to control venereal diseases, e.g. contagious abortion and trichomoniasis in a herd since semen used is first examined. Poor breeds or bulls can be easily eliminated from the breeding program, giving room for better sires. Semen from lame bulls and those that are dead but of good quality can be easily used in the breeding program. Injury to small and weak females by heavy bulls can be controlled using artificial insemination. It reduces the cost and the risk of keeping a bull on the farm since bulls are usually aggressive. Semen from good sires can be easily made available to farmers in rural areas through artificial insemination. Artificial insemination is economical since one ejaculation can serve over 100 cows after dilution. Problems of artificial insemination. A. Silent heat. Agriculture management of cattle. The method of communal grazing in Uganda does not easily allow since poor bulls from different herds can mount animals. There is a danger of disease outbreak, more especially if contaminated semen are used. 22. Special skills are required to carry out which may be lacking among the Farmers. Semen requires special equipment and conditions for storage which may not be easily available to the rural farmers. Poor roads in rural areas make the transportation of semen to such places difficult and expensive. Methods of carrying out AI. There are two main methods of AI, rectovaginal method and speculum method. Rectovaginal method. This is where the rectum and vaginal are manipulated in order to have successful insemination. The hand is pushed in the rectum to remove dung and locate the cervix at the end of the vagina. Procedure. 1. Restrain the animal in a crush to restrict its movement during the operation. 2. Wash your hands with clean water and soap to reduce infection. 3. Put on clean gloves. 4. Thaw the semen in a basin of water at room temperature to reactivate the sperms. 5. Sterilize all the equipment to be used. 6. Insert the semen straw in the inseminating syringe. 7. Lift the animal's tail and insert one of the hands into the rectum to remove dung. 8. Clean the anus and vulva using clean water and soap. 9. Insert the hand in the rectum to locate the cervix in the reproductive system. 10. Insert the inseminating syringe through the vagina and gently direct it to the cervix. 11. Release the semen to the cervix. 12. Massage the cervix after releasing semen so that it can be sucked into the uterus. 13. Gently remove the inseminating syringe from the vagina and the hand from the rectum. 14. Release the animal from the crush and monitor it for 21 days to ensure that it is conceived. Speculum method. This is where special equipment called a speculum is used in locating the cervix. Agriculture management of cattle. 1. Restrain the animal on heat in a crush. 2. Wash your hands using clean water and soap and dry it with a hand towel. 3. Sterilize all the equipment to be used in inseminating. 4. Thaw the semen in a basin of water at room temperature. 5. Insert the semen straw in the inseminating syringe. 6. Wash the vulva with clean water and soap. 7. Wear clean gloves. 8. Insert the speculum into the vagina to locate the cervix. 9. Insert the inseminating syringe into the speculum and release the semen. 10. Gently remove the inseminating syringe from the speculum. 23. 11. Remove the speculum gently from the vagina. 12. Release the animal from the crush. Reproduction in farm animals. This is a process that determines the existence of any animal species and the profitability of that animal. Reproduction is responsible for the number of organisms/animals which will lead to increased animal products, employment and diversification of the economy. Hormonal control of estrus. Estrus is a period of high sexual desire in female farm animals. It is characterized by physiological and behavioral changes. The female estrus cycle. The anterior pituitary gland secretes a hormone called follicle-stimulating hormone FSH, which stimulates the growth of Graafian follicles in the ovary. It also stimulates the ovary to secrete a female sex hormone estrogen. Estrogen causes the signs of heat in females and also stimulates the anterior pituitary glands to produce another hormone called luteinizing hormone LH. Estrogen makes the female animal more receptive to the male and increases sex urge in females. Luteinizing hormone causes the rupture of mature follicles to release the ova in the process of ovulation. After ovulation, luteinizing hormone stimulates the development of the yellow body corpus luteum from the remains of the follicles. The corpus luteum produces a hormone known as progesterone which stimulates the growth of the endometrium in preparation for implantation. Progesterone also inhibits the release of follicle-stimulating hormone and luteinizing hormone from the anterior pituitary gland. After a successive fertilization, the progesterone stimulates the growth and agriculture management of cattle. After implantation, the corpus luteum degenerates and the placenta becomes the new source of progesterone. Multiple ovulation and embryo transfer moet. This is the ability to make female animals simultaneously produce several ova, which are fertilized to form embryos. Objectives of moet. 1. Increases the number of offsprings in the lifetime of a female farm animal. 2. Makes cows with good traits produce more offspring for breeding beyond their natural capacity. 24. 3. Can be used in preserving endangered species since multiplication of offspring is high. 4. It is easier to transport embryos than a live animal. 5. Enables offspring to acquire better immunity from surrogate mothers. 6. Weak and sick females can participate in the breeding program. Limitations. 1. It is very expensive to carry out. 2. It requires a lot of skill to be carried out. 3. Success rate is very low. Signs of heat in animals. The vulva swells and becomes red in color. The animal urinates frequently. An animal on heat mounts other animals and allows others also to mount on it. There is a reduction in milk yield for lactating vows. The animal becomes restless, i.e., moves up and down in search for the male. It sniffs the vagina of another cow. Licking and rubbing of each other has also been noted amongst animals on heat. There is less feeding as more time is spent in walking. There is a slight rise in the body temperature. There is mucousy discharge from the vagina. The animal will stand still to be mounted by a bull standing heat. Note, production of bloody mucus from the vagina means that heat has been missed. Infertility and sterility in farm animals. Infertility, this is a temporary failure of an animal to reproduce which can be corrected. Sterility is a permanent and irreversible failure of an animal to reproduce. Causes of infertility in cattle. Inheritance. Some families of animals inherit low fertility from their parents. Twinning in cattle, although it's rare in cattle, but when it happens, heifers. Agriculture management of cattle. White heifer's disease. This is infertility which is caused when the hymen is too strong and thus preventing natural mating or artificial service of the cow. Cryptorchidism. This is when the male animal is born with both testes retained in the abdominal cavity, making it unable to produce sperms. Retained corpus luteum. This prevents the development of the eggs in the ovary by continuous production of progesterone-maintained pregnancy. Cystic ovaries. This is when follicles fail to rupture in order to release the ovum, causing a condition called nymphomania, excessive desire for sex. And a cow is set on prolonged heat. Nutritional deficiency. Lack of vitamin A, which is responsible for the formation and maintenance of membranes in the reproductive system, lowers the fertility of cattle. Excessive conditioning fattening animals. Heavy fat deposits on the ovary affects its functioning and cause low fertility/infertility. Management. Mating the animal too soon after calving, too early or late after onset of heat, and failure to recognize heat signs will lead to infertility. Venereal diseases like brucellosis and trichomoniasis can also cause low fertility in farm animals. Unfavorable conditions in the reproductive tract of a female can cause infertility. Use of defective sperms during service lowers animal fertility. Signs of pregnancy. Failure of the animals to have heat after 21 days. Increase in the size of the belly, more especially on the right-hand side. 26. A higher concentration of progesterone in milk and plasma 24 days after conception. The cervix opening is sealed and closed by a gelatinous and tough secretion. Other tissues develop and enlarge, especially in heifers at the 6th month of pregnancy. At the later stage, the signs of life in the fetus can be felt after applying slight pressure on the right-hand side of the belly. Laboratory analysis of blood shows a higher level of progesterone in it. Care for a pregnant cow. 1. Provide clean water to the animal without any restriction. 2. Carry out pregnancy diagnosis 2 months after service to confirm pregnancy. 3. Dry off the animal at the 7th month of pregnancy to prepare it for the next lactation. 4. After drying, carry out dry cow therapy to control mastitis. Agriculture management of cattle. 6. Provide adequate feeds throughout the period to cater for high nutrient demands. 7. Steam up in the last 2 months of pregnancy to prepare the animal for lactation. 8. Regularly control external parasites by spraying at least twice a week. 9. Vaccinate the animal against killer diseases so as to protect the unborn calf. 10. Isolate the animal in the last 2 months from the general herd and put it in a nurse paddock. 11. Provide a clean, dry calving pen for the cow. 12. During calving, assist the animal with difficulties. 13. Milk the animal a little to reduce the udder pressure. 14. If the afterbirth is retained, call in a vet for help. Steaming up. This is the practice of giving extra nutritious feed to a pregnant cow 2 months prior to calving. Importance of steaming up. 1. It prevents nutritional disorders associated with milk secretion like milk fever. 2. It allows the heifer to get used to the milking place when steamed in a milking parlor. 3. Replaces the nutrients that have been used in the development of the fetus. 4. It prepares the cow/heifer physiologically for the next lactation period. 5. Allows the animal to put on weight in preparation for calving. 6. Makes a heifer get used to feeding on concentrates. 7. Stimulates the development of mammary glands for milk production. 8. Encourages the production of high-quality colostrums for the calf at birth. 9. For proper growth of the fetus. Signs of calving. 1. The cow/heifer stays away from the general herd and lies down rather than standing. 2. The udder becomes extended as well as the teats. 3. The cow becomes increasingly uneasy. 4. Loss of appetite. 5. The vulva becomes soft and loose. 6. There is frequent urination. 7. Repeated arching of the back and raising of the tail. 27. Care of the cow at calving. 1. The animal should be taken to the calving paddock or stall 2. The place where the cow is to calf should be clean and free from shot. Agriculture management of cattle. 4. In case of failure, the veterinary officer should be called in for help. 5. Remove the afterbirth as soon as possible. Care after calving. 1. The calf should be left with the mother so that it can clean it by licking. 2. Normally, the calf removes the mucous membrane from the nostrils by sneezing. 3. In case the calf fails to breathe, artificial respiration should be initiated by mouth-to-mouth respiration. Handling the calf with the hind legs and lifting it up, then releasing it gently. Tickling the nostrils with a piece of straw to initiate sneezing. 4. Give the cow warm water to drink so as to assist in the digestive system. 5. Disinfect the navel cord of the calf with iodine to reduce infections. 6. Milk the cow a little to release the pressure in the udder. 7. Allow the calf to stay with the mother for 2-3 days to ensure that it takes colostrum. Management of calves from birth to weaning. 1. Clean the calf by removing the mucous membranes from the calf in case the mother fails. 2. Disinfect the umbilical cord using Dettol and Tide to stop tetanus infection. 3. In case the calf fails to breathe normally, artificial respiration should be initiated. 4. Leave the calf with the mother to ensure that it takes colostrum. 5. In case of artificial rearing, a calf should be trained to drink from the bucket within 2 days after birth. 6. Feed the calf on clean milk at least twice a day. 7. Provide plenty of clean drinking water at all times of the day. 8. Provide roughage to the calf at the age of about 2 weeks to facilitate rumen development. 9. Towards weaning, introduce milk replacers to save milk for the market. 10. Carry out identification of the calf at least 2 weeks after birth. 11. Male cows that are not going to participate in the breeding program should be castrated in the 4th week from birth. 12. From extra teats for a female calf at the age of 2 weeks. 13. Calves should be dehorned using the hot iron method in the 2nd week. 14. De-on calves regularly to control internal worms that affect growth. 15. Vaccinate calves against killer diseases to reduce mortality. 16. Clean the pen regularly by removing dirty litter so as to reduce infections. 17. Wean the calves at about 2 months after attaining the right weight. Major causes of calf mortality. 1. Calf scours characterized by diarrhea with a foul smell. Agriculture management of cattle. 3. Naval infection. This caused by bacterial attack of the navel creating septic conditions. 28. 4. Internal worm infections resulting in stunted growth and diarrhea. 5. Calf coccidiosis characterized by feces with foul smell. It is caused by bacteriosexed East Coast fever, which is transmitted by ticks and caused by protozoa. It is the leading cause of death in exotic calves. It is characterized by swollen lymph nodes, parotid, and diarrhea. Feeding calves. After calving, a calf should not be removed from the mother for the first 2-3 days in order to ensure colostrum intake. Colostrum. This is the milk produced by a cow for the first 3-4 days after calving. It is different from normal milk in the following ways. It contains very high antibody content, about 5 times more than normal milk. Bone 2 has a high protein and vitamin content. Reasons for giving the calf colostrum. 1. Contains antibodies which help the calf to fight disease. 2. Remove sticky materials from the alimentary canal of the calf. 3. It contains a lot of nutrients which are needed highly by the calf. Methods of feeding / rearing the calves. 1. Natural rearing / suckling. This includes single suckling, natural suckling, restricted suckling, and foster mothering, multiple suckling. 2. Artificial rearing / bucket feeding. A. Single suckling. This is where a calf is left to suckle from the mother without any restriction until it is weaned at about 4-6 months. This method is restricted to beef production and places where there is little market for milk. Advantages of single suckling. 1. It is the simplest and best way of producing large, healthy calves. 2. It is a suitable method for the beef farmers who have a little interest in milk but more in the beef of the animals. 3. It is labor-saving as compared to the artificial rearing. 4. Diseases due to unhygienic conditions, for example. Calf scours observed in bucket. Feeding are rare in the system. 5. Cows get milk at the normal body temperature, which enhances proper digestion. 6. This is the most suitable method of raising calves in places with low market for milk. 7. There is low mortality rate under this method of raising calves. 29. Agriculture management of cattle. 1. It is very difficult to keep feeding records in the system since the amount of milk taken by the calf is not known. 2. Injury to the teats is common as the calves suckle. B. Restricted suckling. The calves are allowed to suckle at certain periods of the day, e.g. after that morning and evening / afternoon milking. Supplementary feed can be easily introduced. Advantages. 1. Well-grown calves can be realized with proper management. 2. There is a tendency of getting a high milk yield from the dam as it is milked in the presence of the calf. 3. There's low mortality rate since calves get clean milk at the right temperatures. 4. Less cases of mastitis are noted under this method. 5. It saves both labor and time. 6. Provision of supplementary feeds to cows will greatly improve their growth. C. Foster mothering. In this method, a substitute mother is used in providing milk to the calves. The calf is first allowed colostrum for 3 days, then allocated to the foster mother. Advantages. 1. The dam will give more milk when the calves are left to suckle it. 2. The method gives good calves as compared with bucket feeding. 3. The method uses less labor since the provision is little. 4. The calves are able to get the milk at the normal body temperatures. 5. There are fewer cases of calf scours. 7. Case of mastitis in cows is rare. 8. Milk from other dams can be saved for the market. Disadvantages. 1. In case of an infectious disease, a farmer may lose a good number of calves. 2. Weak calves are denied a chance of suckling at most times by the strong, aggressive calves. 3. Injury to teats caused by the calves is more common, for it is very difficult to keep feeding records in this system. Artificial rearing bucket feeding. In this method, calves are removed from the dams 3 days after birth and reared by feeding them on milk or milk substitutes from a bucket. 3. Training the calf to drink from the bucket. Agriculture management of cattle. 2. Immediately after milking, the bucket with the milk should be presented to the calf for training. 3. Wash your hands with clean water and soap and dry using a clean hand towel. 4. The trainer should dip the index and middle fingers in the milk and later place it in the calf's mouth to suckle. 5. The calf suckles the fingers as the trainer allows the hand in a bucket containing milk. 6. As the mouth of the calf approaches the milk in the bucket containing milk, the fingers are removed slowly to allow the calf to drink milk. 7. The calf begins slowly to drink the milk and later learns. 8. The calf should not be allowed to drink in large quantities at a go, as the milk can choke it or enter the undeveloped rumen where it would ferment, causing digestive disturbances. 9. Training can be repeated until the animal learns. Advantages of bucket feeding. 1. It is easy to keep feeding records that can be referred to in any case since the amount of milk taken is known. 2. Calves can be easily rationed according to their body needs. 3. The farmer can introduce milk substitutes easily and therefore save milk for market. 4. The method permits early weaning, which can save milk. 5. The dam will give milk even when the calf dies. 6. It encourages better management of the herd since the lactating calves are fed according to their production. Disadvantages. 1. The mortality rate in this system is high since in most cases calves are given less or dirty milk. 2. Calves are more prone to diseases due to unhygienic conditions associated with feeding calves. 3. The method requires more labor and attention, which are expensive to the farmer. 4. In case of an infectious disease, the farmer may lose a good number of calves. Dairy cattle. These are cattle reared specifically for milk production. Examples of exotic dairy breeds: Friesian, Ayrshire, Jersey, Guernsey, and Kerry. Characteristics of a good dairy breeder should be a high milk. Agriculture management of cattle. C should have a high fertility. D should be docile, hence easy to be milked. E should have a large udder. F should be able to calve easily. 31. G should have a big milk vein. H should be able to calve regularly for a long time. I should have a well-suspended udder with 4 functional teats. J should have a long lactation, which ensures continuous milk production. K should have strong hind legs for supporting a big udder. Factors to consider before establishing a dairy herd. 1. Capital. This is needed in the construction of farm structures, purchase of land, and the animals. 2. Land. There should be enough land to accommodate farm buildings and paddocks, where animals can graze from. 3. Labor. Both skilled and unskilled labor is required for performing specialized work and manual labor respectively. 4. Reliable source of water. Water is needed by the animals for drinking, and also in other farm operations like cleaning and mixing of drugs. 5. There should be a ready market for milk and milk products, which is easily accessible to reduce the costs incurred in looking for market. 6. Pastures. The place in consideration should have good pastures since the production of the animals is greatly affected by the quality of what they eat. 7. There must be reliable transport so that the farmer can easily move farm products to the market and bring back inputs. 8. The breed selected should fit the market demand and the climatical Conditions of the place in consideration. 9. Security is a very important factor for any business since insecurity results into loss of property and life. 10. Government policy in place should be encouraging dairy farming through the provision of good breeds of cattle. 11. Climate in the area should be good for dairy farming. Importance of dairy farming. It provides income to the farmer all year round since animals produce at any given period of the year. Agriculture management of cattle. C. Can provide quality meat at the end of milk cycle after fattening. D. Provide food to the farmer in form of milk. E. Provide market for industrial products like meat. F. They are good converters of inedible pastures into milk. Strength of the dairy industry in Uganda. A high demand for dairy products in Uganda. The integrated farming practices can accommodate dairying. C. Suitable climate in most areas of Uganda that favors animal production. D. Availability of quality fresh pastures throughout the year. E. Improved infrastructure that make transportation of milk to the market easy. F. Increased research and development in dairy farming. G. Improve extension services in dairy farming. H. Historical factors like a long history of cattle keeping among tribes in Uganda. Introducing exotic dairy cattle in an area. Fence off the whole grazing area to keep out intruders and pests. V. Partition the grazing land into paddocks for easy pasture management. C. Remove all weeds and injurious objects from the grazing land. D. Install water points in all paddocks for the animals. E. Introduce bait animals to the paddock to control ticks feminine 6 months before bringing in the exotic animals. S. Spay or dip the bait animals regularly over the whole period. G. Remove the bait animals after a specified period and introduce the exotic animals. H. Regularly spray or dip the exotic animals to control external parasites. Management of dairy cattle. 1. Regularity of care. The operations done on these animals should be performed regularly without abrupt interruptions, as those may affect the production of animals. 2. Kindness to animals. Rough handling of animals like beating reduces the productivity and can even cause injuries that may be expensive to treat. 3. Exercise. Animals need light exercise for good health, but long distances of movement should be avoided as these require a lot of energy, lowering animal production. 4. Grooming. Keeping hindquarters of animals often lose hair and any dirt by brushing and dipping leads to production of high-quality milk. Agriculture management of cattle. 7. Identification. For record purposes, dairy animals should be identified by ear tagging, notching, branding, and tattooing. 8. Provision of adequate water. Animals need enough water since the biggest percentage of their body is water. Excessive loss of water from the body reduces milk produced. 9. Breeding. A farmer should aim at breeding of his how to increase animal number and productivity by incorporating good breeds in the breeding program. 10. Proper feeding. Dairy animals should be given enough and highly nutritious feeds to improve and maintain a high level of production. Milk and milk products. Structure of the udder. Milk secretion. 1. Milk is secreted by the secretory cells called alveoli secretory cells in the udder under the influence of prolactin hormone from the anterior pituitary gland. 2. Milk is made from the nutrients eaten by the animal like blood sugar, amino acids, and fatty acids. 3. Vitamins and minerals can be added to milk from blood. 4. The manufactured milk can be stored in cavities of the alveoli in small ducts. Milk let down. This is downflow of milk from the udder to the lowest part of the teat, or it is process by which milk is removed from the alveoli in small duct systems to the lower part of the udder, i.e. gland, cistern, and teat canal. Process of milk let down. 1. When the udder is stimulated by washing with warm water or suckling by the calf, a message is sent to the anterior part of the brain through the spinal cord. 2. A hormone called oxytocin is released in the bloodstream from the anterior pituitary gland. 3. When the hormone reaches the udders, it causes contraction of muscles surrounding the alveoli. 4. The squeezing action forces the milk into the gland and teat cisterns. 5. The action of suckling/milking will bring the milk outside. Agriculture management of cattle. 4. Feeding of the unconcentrates cow in the milking parlour. 5. Approach of milking time. 6. Presence of the calf at the milking place. Rules of good milking. 1. Avoid exciting the animal before and during milking. 2. Prepare and assemble the milking equipment beforehand. 3. Milking time should never be interrupted. 4. Milk at the same time every day. 5. Prepare the cow for milk letdown by washing the udder with warm water. 6. Use a strict cup to test for mastitis. 7. Begin milking soon after preparing the cow to utilize short period of milk letdown milk hold up. This is the opposite of milk letdown, where the cow holds up milk due to the Production of adrenaline. Adrenaline limits blood supply to the udder, therefore preventing oxytocin from reaching the muscle surrounding the alveoli. Adrenaline is produced when 1. Presence of strangers around the milking parlor like dogs and cats. 2. Rough handling of the animal by beating. 3. Too much noise at the milking parlor. 4. Improper dressing and change of the milking person. 5. Pain during the milking process caused by mastitis for injury to the teats. 35. Milking procedure. 1. Assemble all milking equipments like buckets, cans, and milking strainer in the parlor to avoid time wastage. 2. The cow to be milked should be restrained while in the parlor by tying the hind legs with a milking rope. 4. Wash the udder with warm water and soap and dry it using a hand towel. 5. Milking salve should be smeared on the teats to reduce friction and injury to teats. 6. A strip cup should be used to test milk from each teat for mastitis. 7. Cows suspected of mastitis should be milked last and the milk poured away. 8. Follow the right milking technique of applying pressure to the outside of the teat while holding it between the index finger and thumb. 9. Weigh and record milk from each cow immediately after milking. 10. Milk should be filtered using a milking strainer before being put in the can for cooling to remove all dirt and any foreign material like hair. 11. Agriculture management of cattle. In order to produce clean milk, the following points are important. 1. Clean, healthy cows must be maintained free of brucellosis and tuberculosis. 2. Regular grooming and washing of animal is important for removal of dirt and loose hair that can contaminate milk. 3. All the equipment used during milking must be kept sterile by washing and drying. 4. The milking parlor should be kept spotlessly clean to reduce contamination of milk by microbes. 5. Personnel handling milk should be cleaned by having clean clothes, short hair, and fingernails. 6. Milk should always be covered when in containers to stop foreign material from entering it. 7. The person milking should not be suffering from any contagious disease, e.g., tuberculosis. 8. Cows suffering from mastitis should be milked last and the milk poured away to reduce the spread of the disease. 9. Regular tests for tuberculosis in the herd should be carried out regularly, and animals found with tuberculosis should be culled. 10. Before milking, the milker should wash his hands thoroughly and dry it with a hand towel to reduce contamination of the milk with dirt. 36. 11. The milking parlor should be far away from poultry houses, piggeries, manure pits, and latrines which may pollute the air and provide a breeding ground for flies. 12. The milking parlor should be built on a high ground to permit good drainage. 13. Wild plants which have an odor that contain milk should be removed from the milking place. 14. Milk should be cooled from the normal temperature of 30 Savino C to 4 C2. Reduce bacterial multiplication. 15. Proper milking technique should be followed to reduce injury to teats and contamination of the milk. Factor affecting the quality composition and quality yield of milk. 1. Breeds. Friesians produce large amounts of milk but of low butter fat while the agriculture management of cattle. 4. Animal health. Sick animals give less milk which may also contain antibodies and drugs more, especially after treatment. 5. Animal temperament. Quiet animals are the best milkers while nervous cows which kick about give less milk. 6. Water supply. Water is needed for the health of the cow and also in the manufacture of milk, since it is 87% water. Provision of enough water increases milk yield. 7. Food eaten. Animals fed on concentrates will produce more milk which is of better quality than those fed on the ration full of roughages. 8. Season of the year. During the rainy season, cows produce milk with high butterfat content. The quantity of milk is also high due to the abundant pastures and water. 9. T period 37. Estrus causes a slight decline in milk production which may be due to the reduced feed intake. The butterfat content of the milk can also fluctuate by 1%, above/below normal. 10. Temperature. High temperatures reduce milk yield due to the increased evaporation of water from the animal's body. 11. Management. Proper feeding of animal and better handling during milking will increase the quality and quantity of milk produced. Rough handling leads to the increase of adrenaline and hence milk holdup. 12. Milking interval. The greater the number of milking times, the higher the amount of milk produced. However, morning milking produces milk with higher butterfat content. Methods of milking. There are two main methods of milking. 1. Hand milking. 2. Machine milking. Hand milking. Advantages. 1. Spread of mastitis is limited as compared to machine milking where Mastitis is easily spread through the teat cups. 2. Hand milking has a low initial capital, and therefore peasants can afford it. 3. It cannot be limited by power, therefore more applicable to rural areas with agriculture management of cattle. 4. Injury to teats is not common as witnessed in machine milking due to faulty machines. Disadvantages: 1. It is very slow in operation and therefore cannot cope with large herds. 2. Efficiency declines with increase in the time worked. 3. It is difficult to produce as clean milk under this method. 4. It is difficult to have complete milking, hence a farmer stands to lose. 5. It increases labor costs as more people are employed. Machine milking. Advantages of machine milking: 1. It produces clean milk more easily than hand milking. 2. Complete milking is easily achieved. 3. There is reduction of labor costs since one person can handle more than 1,000 cows in a short time. 4. It is faster in its operation, hence saving time for animals to graze. 5. Can easily cope up with a large piece of work without getting tired. Disadvantages: 30A. 1. Needs skilled labor to operate the machine, which may be difficult to attain. 2. It's limited by power supply and cannot work in places with no power. 3. Faulty machines can cause injury to teats. 4. Diseases like mastitis are easily spread since the animals share the same teacups. 5. The initial cost of buying and installing the machine is high for most of the farmers in Uganda. 6. It is only economical on farms with very large numbers of lactating animals. Diseases associated with lactating cows. 1. Mastitis. This is an inflammation of the udder caused by a number of bacteria, and the most common are Streptococci and Staphylococcus types of mastitis. Acute mastitis. This is sudden in occurrence, marked with changes in the udder. B. Chronic mastitis. This is slow in onset without obvious signs. Spread of mastitis can be spread through milker's hands. Agriculture management of cattle. Signs of mastitis: 1. Blood stains in milk. 2. Flakes and clots in milk. 3. Discolored milk. Treatment of mastitis: use intramammaries, which are antibiotics injected into the affected teats. Control of mastitis: the milker must ensure that his hands are clean before milking. A strip-up should be regularly used to test for mastitis. Before milking, the udder should be washed with warm water and dried using a towel. The farmer should pay more attention to sores on teats and prevent it. Plucking by using a milking salve. The teat cups should be rinsed and disinfected immediately after milking. Each cow animal suffering from mastitis should be treated promptly to stop the spread of the disease. Infected animals should be milked last and the milk poured away. Factors predisposing lactating animals to mastitis. Stage of lactation: it is more common at the beginning of lactation. 39. Age of cattle: older animals are more prone to mastitis due to aging. Immune system. Level of milk yield: high milk yielders are more prone to mastitis than the low yielders. Injury to teat and udder: this makes animal more prone to mastitis. Unhygienic practices: milking infected animals with healthy ones increases the chance of mastitis spread. 2. Milk fever, parturient parasites/hyperglycemia. It affects cattle, sheep, and occasionally goats. Causes: low blood calcium and phosphorus level with an increase in magnesium concentration. The normal ratio of calcium and phosphorus should not be above or below 2:1. Too much calcium in the ration. Symptoms: it occurs in high milk producing cows soon after calving. Loss of appetite, constipation and general depression, muscular spasms, convulsions, uncoordinated movement, and inability to stand. Nervousness is experienced by the animal. Agriculture management of cattle. Feed the cow on a ration containing 0.5–0.7% calcium and 0.3–0.4% phosphorus. Calcium shock treatment. Feed the pregnant animal 10–14 days before calving on a calcium-deficient ration to activate the animal's calcium mobilizing mechanism. A pregnant animal should be fed on a ration with high vitamin D 6 days before calving. Treatment: the animal should be injected with calcium salts in form of calcium chloride, calcium lactate, and calcium gluconate. Drying a cow. A dry period is when a cow is left without giving milk immediately after lactation period. The dry period should be for at least 60 days. Reasons for observing the dry period: allow the cow to restore other tissues before getting back to lactation. Allow the cow to replace the minerals depleted during lactation. To give the fetus enough time to develop and also enough nutrients for it to maintain a high future milk yield in the next lactation. Enable the cow to gain weight before delivering. To ensure high quality colostrum at both methods of drying a cow. Incomplete milking. This involves milking the cow halfway its production capacity so that the remaining milk in the udder exerts pressure on the milk-secreting cells which will stop secreting milk. Intermittent milking. The cow is milked at intervals of days and later left completely after 5 days or more. Cessation milking. This is when milking stops once for all. It causes a lot of pain to the animal and can easily result into mastitis. Dry cow therapy. Here antibiotics are included in feeds which will control mastitis. Beef production. The main objective of beef production is to produce healthy young stocks, fatten them and sell for slaughter as meat. Breeds of beef cattle in East Africa. The main indigenous breeds are the Boran and small shorthorn Zebus. The exotic breeds are Hereford, Aberdeen Angus, Charolais Shorthorn and Galloway. Agriculture management of cattle. Should have a high ability to grow fast, i.e. put on weight quickly. Should have thick muscles to increase the quantity of beef produced, heavy, deep body. It should be able to breed regularly so as to increase the herd. Should have a high ability of converting herbage into beef. Should have a high resistance to pests and diseases common in that environment. Should be able to survive long drought periods without losing excessive weight. Should show a high degree of tolerance to heat. Factors limiting beef production in Uganda. 1. Climate. Long droughts that are rampant in many places of Uganda have led to the scarcity of pastures and water, hence decreasing animal productivity. 2. Poor soils. 41. Potential areas for beef production have poor soils which cannot support quality pastures for the animal. 3. Diseases. There are a number of diseases which attack livestock in Uganda. The most notable diseases are those transmitted by the vectors e.g. ticks and tsetse flies. 4. Inadequate extension services. Most farmers live in rural areas which are difficult to reach by the extension staff. This denies them an opportunity of acquiring knowledge about beef production. 5. Conservation. Most pastoral communities in East Africa look at cattle number rather than the quality, hence low production from the large number of poor quality animals in terms of beef. 6. Poor markets. Animal markets are poor and far from the production areas, making transport to be difficult and expensive. 7. Poor animal breeding. Animals are made while young and little time is spent on selecting the right breeds that are productive. 8. Poor management. This can be reflected in the way records are kept and referred to if necessary. Most farmers do not keep update records and therefore animal production is difficult to judge. 9. Inadequate land. Agriculture management of cattle. Factors determining animal productivity. Inheritance. This is the most important factor since as the animal receives genes of high productivity and then it can always have the potential. However, productivity is affected by environmental factors which include management. This involves proper care for the animal and observation of signs of ill health. Feeding. Animals that are underfed will have low production and are more prone to diseases. Diseases. Irrespective of the animal's potential of production, diseases will always lower the animal's production. 42. Climate. Under this, the most important factors are temperature, rainfall, and humidity. High temperatures of the day increase evaporation of water from the animal's body, which reduces milk production in lactating animals. Humidity. High humidity reduces evaporation of water from the animal's body, hence conserving it for other productive purposes like milk secretion. Parasites. Apart from transmitting pathogens, animal parasites can extract a lot of nutrients that are supposed to be used by the animal's body. Factors to consider before establishing a beef herd. Beef cattle may be raised under the farm herd system similar to having a dairy farm or under the range/ranch cattle system. Under any of these systems, when establishing a beef herd, there are a number of factors a farmer may need to consider. Type of stock, uniformity, size of the herd, health, condition, age and longevity, reproductivity/fertility, size of cattle, adaptability, factors that determine the size of the herd, the type of pasture species, high nutritive value of pastures, therefore high carrying capacity, agriculture management of cattle, the type of stock, e.g. hardy types which can survive well in drier conditions and scarce pasture can be kept in large numbers, availability of reserve feeds which enable a large herd to be carried through dry periods when pasture is scarce, economic considerations which are usually of a long-term nature, e.g. whether the farmer requires cash immediately and the cost of keeping a large number of animals, topography of the land where overstocking in hilly areas could result into a serious case of soil erosion, Availability of water sufficient and available at all times. The presence of poisonous plants and trees that should render potions of the ranch useless. Slaughtering process. Before slaughter. The animal should at all times be handled humanly, rested and starved for 24 hours. This allows emptying of the gut and reduces spoilage and contamination of meat. The resting also conserves stored body glycogen. After slaughter, glycogen is converted into lactic acid, which has a preserving effect on the meat. Inspection of the animal to check for any deformities, injuries, sex, etc. It is done at this stage. 45. Bee stunning. This renders the animal senseless just before slaughter to reduce pain. Painless killing of animals is human and it is strongly recommended. Stunning can be achieved either by use of a hammer gun or electric shock. See slaughter. The neck of the animal is cut and it's allowed to bleed by hoisting it up. Adequate bleeding is essential to reduce meat spoilage. Skinning is then followed by devisceration, which is the cutting open of the carcass to remove the internal organs. Deinspection. This is the post-mortem inspection for infection by tuberculosis, cysts, etc. The carcass has to be passed for public consumption. Condemned carcasses are buried/burnt. E-grading. The products looked for a fat, degree of marbling, texture of meat and color. A pale color indicates poor quality. Factors leading to poor quality of meat from animals. 1. Poor feeding of animals leading to disease and nutritional deficiencies. Agriculture management of cattle. 4. Parasitic infection in animals causing cysts and eggs in meat. 5. Age of animals i.e. very young and old animals produce poor quality. 6. Poor animal breed that may produce poor quality meat. 7. Chemical poisoning of meat by drugs administered shortly before slaughter. 8. Harsh treatment of the animal before slaughter through beating. Hides and skins. Uses. Used in the leather tanning industry for making shoes, belts, bags, etc. Source of government revenue when the government taxes the product. Making musical equipments e.g. drums. Decorations in cultural centers. Used as clothing for traditional ceremonies. Sources of food in some communities e.g. the Karamajong. Preparation of hides and skins. 46. Washing. This is done in running water to remove dung, dirt, and blood. Draining. The hides and skins are handed over poles to remove water and some blood. After washing, fleshing. This involves the removal of fat and meat from the hide using a knife or scraper. Trimming. Here, odd flaps at the edge of the hide/skin are removed with the aim of making a regular in shape. Flaying, drying. Curing, preserving. This can be done by wet/dry salting or hanging them in frames using ropes to dry. Tanning. This is the process of soaking hides and skins in chemicals such as tannic acid to soften and turn them into leather. Sources of damage to hides and skins. During the animal's life. Eye injuries/wounds that may be caused by rough handling and sharp objects such as barbed wire. Roman 2. Some parasites like ticks can cause wounds which will eventually lower the quality of the hide or skin. Roman 3. Diseases like ringworms in cattle and goats can also damage their skins by causing open wounds. Roman 4. Agriculture management of cattle. I. Incomplete bleeding which causes blood to remain in a hide or skin attracting microbes that may lead to putrefaction. Roman 2. Dragging carcass on the floor or over sharp objects can damage the hide. See during flaying. I. Delay in flaying after killing the animal will make the whole process more difficult, hence prone to more mistakes during flaying. Roman 2. Use of pointed knives which may accidentally make holes in the hide/skin. Roman 3. Mixing the hide with dung or blood during the process of flaying the carcass attracting microbes that speed up putrefaction. Roman 4. Failure to wash and dry the skin immediately after flaying can encourage rapid decomposition, hence reduction in quality. The fresh skin should not be folded with the hair inside as these create anaerobic conditions that speed up putrefaction. 47. Roman 6. An even removal of flesh from the hide causes distortion and damage of the pattern during flaying. De-drying of the skin on the ground can cause the following. Causes flaking due to overdrying since temperatures are high on the ground. The fat on the skin/hide will melt and spread all over, increasing chances of microbial attack. Sea raindrops can collect on the hide/skin which may easily encourage decomposition and hence loss in quality. The outside of the hide/skin is hard while the inside is soft. There is uneven drying. There is putrefaction of the hide/skin, more especially in spots which touch the ground. Damage during transportation. Bad packing causes the hide/skin to rub against each other which may